Frank Zappa may be one of the most well-known names in music, but how well do fans really know the man behind the music? The new documentary Zappa is the first ever all-access film on the artist, featuring previously unseen materials from his personal vault. Take a look.
We were loud and we were strange.
Watch out where the huskies go, don't you eat that yellow snow.
Each show was like a composition. What the hell is this? It's Zappa.
At every point, he was trying to do the best thing that he could to have no regrets.
Don't waste your time.
And director Alex Winter and producer Ahmet Zappa join me now. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
It is good to see you. I know that this has been years in the making, this film. So, Alex, I want to know how you first got involved with the Zappa family. Was this your idea to begin with?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is there needed to be a film about Zappa's life. There hadn't been one. About 6 years ago, I picked up the phone and asked Ahmet why there wasn't a movie about his dad.
Yeah.
And he said, best of luck. So my producer and I, we put a little sizzle together to try to convey the kind of story we wanted to tell, which was really, about this extraordinary man who made art at a very, very interesting period of American history. And that was very compelling to me. So Ahmet set up a meeting with us and his mother, Gail, who, was a titan in the music industry her whole life and a force of nature. And I pitched her my take. I expected her to show me the door, and she liked the take. So we got to work. And 5 very long and exhausting years later, the film is done.
This is not a typical music documentary. I'm just curious about your approach. Did you go in with a set story in mind, or did you just start exploring and shooting and kind of let the story come to you?
Well, I had a great editor, Mike Nichols, and we started looking at the vault media right away. Before we even had full doc funding, we started looking at what there was.
Yeah.
And one thing that we discovered down there was that Frank Zappa, for all of his sort of outward supposed crustiness about the media and interviews and things like that, he loved doing interviews, and he would talk for hours with people who came over to do interviews with him, and he would film those interviews. And there were rows and rows and rows of film and video and audio of Frank talking about things that interested him. He was very curious about other people. And so having discussions with those people, and Mike and I realized that we basically had Frank's perspective on his life from first person.
Yeah.
So that guided a lot of our story.
I mean, and how amazing is it that he had all of that stuff? I mean, talk to me about this vault.
In a world where we're so used to having, Zoom now, or an iPhone, or some device that can capture video that's in your pocket, and you can store everything in the cloud, right? So,
Yeah.
But when my father started recording everything, the medium would change all the time.
Yeah.
So some of these devices to even play back the content, there's specialized places where there might be one functioning piece of equipment to play back some audio or some video.
Obviously, a lot of people do want to see this because you exceeded your goal on Kickstarter, which is amazing. But, Ahmet, I have to ask you, you and your family have been very protective of his legacy over the years, notoriously protective. Why now? Was it just because Alex sold you on this?
We've been approached by lots of people to do a documentary, and it does come down to the point of view and the filmmaker.
The Zappas have been outputting an enormous amount of content for decades. So, yeah. I mean, there has been other Zappa docs, and the guy's life was so monumental. There have been great live documentaries. There have been docs that just look at his relationship to the press.
But this is the first all access, right?
Yeah. First all access. And that's kind of where I was headed. It's the first time they felt comfortable telling his story. And all I can tell you is that what Gail said to me was that the reason that she liked my perspective was because I didn't want to tell this kind of narrow story about Frank, the kind of mustachioed 70s rock guy.
Yeah.
And I was more interested in an expansive look at him as an artist. And I just don't think that was pitched to them that often. The film is made for people, whether they know who Frank is or not, whether they like Frank's music or not. I think his story is so fascinating, and he was such an interesting individual that I just want people to be as captivated by this narrative and just watch what is hopefully an entertaining and emotional movie. That's the kind of movie I like to watch. And it's not really an info dump. It's not really a fan service film. It's really a narrative in a way about an artist who lived at a particular period of time.
You've done a wonderful job restoring, honoring his legacy. I'm so excited for you guys that this moment has come now, that everyone's going to get to see it. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. Zappa is available in theaters and on demand now. Alex and Ahmet, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you
So much.
That was awesome. Thank you.